A life begun with all the potential of God's love and will. A life that one day will go on into eternity. A life that would never have begun here on earth without Laganov Wesleyan Hospital. A child born. A mother's life saved. God's love shown through a caring and efficient hospital staff. Some might ask, is this hospital really needed? The resounding answer is yes. It's a matter of life or death. In 1959, Laganov Wesleyan Hospital opened its doors to alleviate the physical suffering of the people in the island. For nearly 40 years, Haitian staff and missionaries have ministered to their physical and spiritual needs. The 25-bed hospital is the only medical facility on the island with a fully functioning operating room. People in a serious, life-threatening condition have only two options: Laganov Wesleyan Hospital, or taking the 25-mile trip by boat to Port-au-Prince, the capital. For many, the hospital's existence is a matter of life or death.
I think it's a wonderful place to work because this hospital is really needed. This is the only hospital that the people have to go to on the island for serious things. And people know that here that we did a C-section on a lady that had a placenta in the front of the uterus outlet, and she was bleeding before the delivery had even started. And if she wouldn't have had that operation, she would have been bleeding to death and the baby would have never made it either. So I can just go on like that there are things happening in the hospital every day that make such a difference in the lives here.
A book that has really been very meaningful to me is a book that Headquarters has sent us just a few months back concerning experiencing God. And this is a place that God is working. Sometimes we get really tired and workload gets really heavy and you get pushed in 20 different ways when you can really only handle 5. And you think, okay, maybe we just can't handle this anymore. And yet you go to work and it'll be that very day that you'll have a chance to pray with somebody that will come in that if you hadn't been there, if the hospital hadn't been functioning, if things hadn't been working, it wouldn't have worked out. And you look and you think, God is working here. God has a ministry here. This is a lighthouse. This is a place that God's Spirit is a part of us.
I've worked just about everywhere in the hospital. In the hospital on the night shift, I've worked with old people and with children. This hospital has made such a tremendous difference in the town of Ansangalé and the whole island. It's not only here on the island of Laganov, but people from all parts of Haiti come here for treatment. When people come into the hospital, ordinarily there is a devotional time in the morning. Often they have never heard the gospel. Frequently, when the nurses talk with them on a personal basis, they are able to talk to them about their salvation and if they know Jesus.
We have always considered the hospital to be a lighthouse on the island. We have always considered it to be the salt. And we have always endeavored to be the people that will show Christ in our lives and in our actions and our love, in the kind of care that we give and the level of care that we demand of ourselves and also of our students and also of our staff, that people can see that God is moving in our midst. As I think over the last year, there's been a theme that has just continued to sound in my mind and in my heart, and that's the thought that God is big enough. And the last year has been a very unusual year for us. We have gone through things that we'd never experienced before, we'd never even thought about before. The ferry accident that 200 people from the island died one morning, and we could hear the screaming and the wailing in the village when we woke up that morning. And then in December, on a Saturday morning, when we got the news that another boat had gone down. And just the many tragic things and just the many normal routine life things that we've gone through this year, over and over and over again, God has reminded me that He is big enough for all of that. The school is a ministry, a love that God has placed in my heart for many years. And this particular class, which we started about 2 years ago, have proven over and over again that God is big enough in their lives for all of the situations that they go through, for tragic things and for really good things. They have gone through deaths in their family. They have gone through multiple deaths in their family. They have just pulled through, and it's been just fascinating to watch how they've grieved and how they've sorrowed and how they've clung to God and clung together.
Since I have been here in the nursing school, God has been so good to me. He has helped me to grow in my spiritual life, and He has helped me to witness to patients in the hospital who don't know Him. The hospital helps the people to be healed physically, and it encourages we nurses to talk with the patients to help them find the Lord.
The hospital is doing a great work in encouraging the spiritual life of the people. They come, they don't know God, and since they don't know God, they have no hope. They think they are going to die. But the hospital helps them spiritually to know that God is their hope. If they die, they may lose their body, but their soul is going to be saved for eternity. I just have a deep affection for these people who come to the hospital. I have the privilege of pointing them to God, who can help them as well.
And to me, the nursing school is not just a professional place, as important as that is. But the most important thing is it's a chance for us to allow God to develop in their lives and nurture their lives through stages and through periods, so that when they get to be adults and they're out on their own and they're married and they have their families and they have their kids and their pastors' wives and their WWI directors or leaders, or they're working in a private wherever, that they have a base in the Lord, and they're standing on the Lord and they're standing in His strength, and they're looking back at things that they've learned as students, not just professionally but spiritually. God is here. God is working in our midst. We have a wonderful opportunity to be a part of what He's doing right here on this island, and we need people to come down and help.